Hello and welcome to the Big Bang Theory podcast. My name's John. I'm here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Hello.
Hi everyone. I hope you enjoyed watching City versus Cambridge on the TV, on the telly box. Cambridge seemed to be, it's supposed to be a nice city, innit? You know, punting on the river, medieval architecture, dons strolling around on bicycles. You don't stroll on a bicycle, you know what I mean? But they seem to have put their football team in a post-industrial wasteland. It looks terrible on the telly.
I mean, I think it's the same as any of those places, isn't it? You've got where it's like, you've got the one side of the town,
Yep.
where it's like all the poshos,
Yeah.
and all the kind of posh stuff, and then the bit that no one ever sees or talks about is just a bunch of like, you know, farmers basically, bumpkins.
Well, anyway, it was Hartridge would have felt right at home because he's basically playing his football in a cattle market.
Yeah, turnip field.
It was 1-0 win to Exeter City. Cambridge obviously bottom of the league, so we absolutely needed that. It was one of those must-win collect some 3 points and move on kind of games.
It was a vital win, I think, given that Cambridge are one of the teams that are, well, especially now, almost certain to go down.
Languishing.
Well, you never know. They have, after this result, sacked Gary Monk.
Oh, have they?
Yeah.
Oh, he's gone.
So he's gone.
Gone.
So maybe someone will come in and be able to turn it around. But
Back to his monastery.
yeah, back to Buckfast Abbey with
Yeah.
him.
He's back on...
Apparently they don't make Buckfast the drink anymore, the monks. It's outsourced.
Yeah.
Sad, really, isn't it?
Sad.
What do they do?
Monks?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a life of not doing anything.
Well, that's not true, though, is it? Because they literally built Buckfast Abbey with their bare hands.
Is that
Only
true?
one of them knew actually how to do any building. This is totally true.
Okay.
Only one of them even knew how to do any building.
Yeah.
And they built the whole thing.
Yeah, fair play.
Like, literally did all the stonemasonry.
Good Abbey.
So that's not doing nothing. That's doing 10 times more than I've ever done with my life. And I couldn't be less of a monk.
Yeah, but the current monks didn't build it. That was, some time ago.
What? So the new ones are all got lazy, have they? And they're sat around.
I think
on their
monastic
fat
life
arses.
I think monastic life by its very nature is, quiet, contemplative, grow some spuds. I'm not saying they don't work, but they got nothing.
Piece
except,
of piss, you're saying, basically.
No, I'm not
It's for people
saying
who
that.
can't be bothered to contribute to society.
No, it's a quiet life. None of them are coming to the football. They're not
but
off the timepiece.
I know. I'm not. All I was saying was they don't make Buckfast anymore, and that was something at least they could be doing,
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Well,
rather than just sitting there counting butterflies or whatever they do.
yeah, catch them in their nets.
Yeah.
Anywho,
Lazy.
Gary's gone back. Monk.
Yeah, he's
not
gone.
Colwell. I'm not surprised they sacked him. It's funny, isn't it? He was going to be a shining light in English football for a minute.
Was he?
Wasn't he? Wasn't he Premier League with Swansea?
I don't know if he's Premier League, was he? I remember him being, I kind of remember him being a bit up and coming, but it hasn't worked out for him.
No.
It hasn't panned out that way for old Gary, but he's gone. So we did need to win that game.
And we did. 3 points. Fair play to the 400 who went, by the way, because it's a very long journey, and a 12:30 kickoff is real stitch up.
Yeah.
So 5 hours. One of our friends went, didn't they? And it was...
That is dedication.
I mean, you could hear them all over the telly. Cambridge looked like they'd all gone home.
Yeah, I think you were you were rewarded with a win, which obviously you're going to feel better about when you come away. I mean, it wasn't exactly... I mean, it was absolutely...
It wasn't a good game.
It was awful.
Especially after the Forest game on Tuesday. The
God,
direct
it was
opposite.
terrible.
Yeah.
Like a really bad watch, But how did we get going with this? Yeah, so obviously Ed Turns is out.
Yeah, suspended.
So that's one of the three gone. So we had 3 matches, sorry. So we had Hartridge and Jack McMillan, everybody's favourite Exeter City player, Jack McMillan.
Yep.
And Angus MacDonald
Yep.
and Alex Hartridge
Yep.
at the back.
I mean, that is 2 defenders. No, that's all 3 defenders. What am I on about? That's 3
Yeah.
defenders playing.
Yeah, I don't know if McMillan's a centre-back, but, he's
No, he's
he
not
is a
really,
defender. And then you had Niskanen and Harper, and then there was no Woods. So you had Colwell and Trevitt and
Yeah.
Watts
Yeah.
and Ed Francis in the midfield, and then Josh Magennis up front. You
Good.
know.
It really is good to see Francis back in the midfield, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he actually kind of works quite hard and with like the kind of tackling. Like he does that job pretty well.
Yeah.
Getting those little niggly challenges in where they're needed and covering all across that area. I thought it was good, but it wasn't. It wasn't good to watch. We struggled, and Niskanen was basically got himself in a few good positions. But you know what happens when that happens.
What happens when that happens?
Well,
then?
nothing good, does it?
Oh, I
Because
see.
I've never known somebody to have
What
such,
the ratio between good position?
Well,
and,
I suppose you could say effort
yeah,
as well.
he's a really useful defensive player.
Well, we reaped the benefits of his defensive work this week.
Yeah,
Incredibly good, last man tackle.
Yeah.
Towards the end, some just great defensive work generally. But in the system we're in, we're also kind of, if he's playing there, you're reliant on him for a fair bit of your attacking creative output too.
Indeed.
And it's just, it's almost funny. It's so bad, like unbelievably bad. Like, I think you'd be better.
thank you very much.
Or I don't know. I mean, that's a bit. I know that is a diss to him,
No, of course, he's a professional footballer.
but my word,
It
it's beggars belief.
does really. It's obviously he's in the team for what he does going backwards and
And smiling.
and he
Don't
gets the
forget.
ball. He gets the ball into good positions. He gets himself with the ball into good positions.
Yeah, he's brilliant at that.
So in that sense, it's just this final piece of the
I
puzzle.
would think you do at training. You're Coldwell, right? You're Perks.
Yeah.
You're at training. You're setting up your kind of like drills for the day. You're setting up your team, your shape.
Yeah.
Whatever they do, and then you go over. You say to Ilmari, "Look, mate, can you stop smiling for 1 second? Can you?
Nothing to smile about here, Ilmari.
Just stop smiling for a second. It's driving me insane." But you go over there. You're not involved in this. We're going to train and do the old thing. You know what? You're already good enough at that. You already understand the system. There's no fault in your effort, so don't worry about any of that.
Yeah.
You go over there and just ping balls at a goal. Like, just do that all day, because you've got to get better at it, because it's absolutely mental at the minute.
It must be a technique thing, mustn't it?
Yeah, but you can practice, can't you?
Well, I would have thought so. He obviously can't get it at the minute. Anywho, we got to half-time 0-0. We were probably
We hadn't created anything other than those Niskanen
No,
chances.
and Cambridge had created some things. I mean, this is the team at the bottom of the league.
Yeah, a bit, yeah.
A bit. And I know they're at home and they're obviously in desperate need of some in. But we didn't look like, we're streets ahead of this team, did we?
No, it was an evenly shit match.
Which is weird given what we did on Tuesday night. And I know it's different setup and I know all that stuff. And I know Colwell reacts well to...
Well, we hoped for it. We hoped for a bit of momentum. But I think if you remember what we did say last week is we didn't see any evidence of that last year.
No.
After the old FA Cup.
I mean, I would say...
Or the League Cup, whatever it was we were in.
League Cup. On a very basic level, we have got some momentum because Josh Magennis hadn't been scoring.
I knew he was going to... I did know he was going to score. You could tell.
He's... Like we said the other day... Tuesday night was like his match, wasn't it? He ran that show.
Yeah.
Certainly from a City point of view. And he bullied, as well as you could ever hope, some excellent defenders.
Yeah. But
And
we
he's
played in a
carried that in.
completely different way against them. So
Yeah,
that we
I
can't
know
expect any kind of like correlation, really. Magennis struggles partly because of like the things we've already said about he's knocking on a bit. He's not very mobile, understandably, and we don't. But the main thing is we don't play to his strengths at all. And then when we did play to his strengths, he scored.
Yeah.
So when Caleb Watts put a ball into the box,
It was Mitchell in the end, wasn't it? Watts came back
his
out.
Watts is no, the other way around.
Oh, is it?
And when we did play to his strength, he scored. So it's a bit of both. The thing that I find annoying is about the whole thing was, so we're playing with these wing backs, right? So when it's when we're out of possession, it's very much a kind of 5 at the back, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then there's not much width because you got box midfield, and with the idea that they can split out, like we saw for the goal.
Yeah.
But when with Magennis up top on his own, but when we've gone like, right, well, we haven't got these defenders anymore that can play out, so we're gonna hoof it. We're going to do a fair old bit of hoofing. That's what Hartridge is there for. They're not going to. You wouldn't bother getting him in on loan if you didn't want a bit of hoofing going on.
Yeah.
So we just hoof now. It's kind of like you're not getting the benefits of either system. You're not playing out from the back and not succeeding at it. But you're not set up for playing long ball either.
No.
So it's kind of like it's kind of the worst of both worlds.
No, I agree.
I don't think it's the answer. One or the other. It's like if you get it's like those those shoes you can get that are like sort of smart brown sort of brogy looking shoes.
Yeah.
With all the kind of bits on them, and then they've got trainer soles.
Oh yes.
Who's that for? You turn up at a meeting and they're angry at you.
Yeah.
You turn up at the gym and you look like a twat.
Yeah.
It's not serving a purpose, one or the other. Either put a brogue on or wear a pair of trainers.
Yeah, I mean, fair comment.
It's upsetting. So I just think that's what we're doing, and I think I would rather just carry on trying to do Coldwell ball if we're going to do that.
What's starting to be a bit mysterious is these players are all. Let me think now if this is true. Are they all Gary's players, basically? Who's not?
Well,
Hartridge.
Well, he sort of is now, isn't he? Because he's brought him back in. Pierce Sweeney, who's not actually playing. Yeah, everyone else I think is a.
And I know.
No, well, did he buy? Yeah, he bought Mitchell, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone then. Yeah.
So, I get that you can't get exactly the player you always want, but this is his squad, this is his team, this is his way of playing. And he's been pragmatic, which is what we asked for, and he has changed the style a bit. But
but there's no point setting up for one thing and then trying to do another.
That's right. And he keeps saying, doesn't he, we need to be better. I've heard him say this a lot. We need to be better. It's me, it's the players. What he means is the players. Because, if he meant I need to be better, he'd be doing things differently, unless he's just kind of coaching. So I'm grateful for the 3 points. I do think the momentum, because that's the first win we've had since Boxing Day, isn't it, in the league?
Mm-hmm.
The momentum of Forest meant that a win didn't seem impossible to the players, and Magennis rose really well for that header. It was a really good header, the kind that we hoped we'd get from him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, sorry, it sounds like I'm really kind of moaning really bad. Like, that does sound pretty damning.
It wasn't a good performance.
But it wasn't a good performance.
We were lucky.
But we did manage to get a 1-0 win. Yeah, managed to get... There was a Whitworth howler. It was a bad back pass to him, but then he just passes it straight to the Cambridge attacker, who somehow manages to toe poke it over the bar from 6 yards. One of the worst misses you'll see.
Yeah. That was before we'd scored, I think?
Before we'd scored.
Yeah.
So absolute let-off there. And then they're terrible. So, but we can't... We're lucky that we've had them to play after our performance against Forest, really, because we didn't carry that same spirit from that match over into that game. And if we had anybody else other than the worst team in the division, we may well have lost or not won.
Yeah.
If we're going to play like that, but luckily they are shit, and we managed to get the win and the clean sheet somehow. So a bit of good fortune.
The hope is that it's kind of baby steps towards a bit more confidence, a bit more like, okay, well, the manager's asked us to do this, and this is how we can make this work.
Yeah,
and that's the hope.
Well, the other thing to say is, I think it's unfair to. I don't want to be too unfair on Coldwell at the moment, because we have had to, like, some fairly enforced changes have had to be made to the team.
Yeah.
We've lost 2 of our best, most effective players in the January window.
Yeah.
And we've only had these new lads in for literally like minutes, basically. And I think some of them, they're the ones that look the most promising.
Yes, I agree.
Ugani looks like a really could be a really dangerous player. McDonald looks really good. We haven't seen Oluwabari yet, so we don't know. And Ed Turns again. He looked good, but then now he's out for 8. Suspended.
Games,
But credit where it's due. They all look really good, and you've got to give it a little. We do have to give it a little bit of time to gel. That same thing happened last season, last January, when we brought in Harris and Woods and people like that in January. It didn't. I think Woods might have got off to a pretty good start, but the rest of them, it didn't kind of gel straight away. So we've got to give them a little bit of time, and I remain optimistic that may well still be the turning point, because the recruitment generally has been pretty good, at times excellent.
I think what he's done is most of the players that have come in have been, yes, at least fine. Most of them have been good, and some of them have been excellent. There's still the question.
And we've got unlucky with some as well, with like injuries, but some being so good that they've gone again.
Of course. The question is, there seems to be some gaps in why the squad's heavily,
There's a reluctance or some sort of inability to sign strikers. That's definitely true.
That's right. So the people that have come in the recruitment's been good of the people that have come in. The recruitment policy, I would say, is curious.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it is. It definitely is. But in a way, there's no point talking about that now, because we've got this squad until the end of the season. So
that's right. Now, the win obviously really helped. Like you said, Cambridge are a team probably on their way down. The relegation zone, I think it will probably end up being the bottom 4 they've currently got.
Who's that then?
So Cambridge are bottom, they got 23, Burton on 26, Shrewsbury on 27. There's the Ainsworth factor there, but they haven't really turned it around. And then Crawley.
They lost yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah, Crawley are the last
Saturday
relegation place with 28 points. Then you've got Peterborough, which seems bizarre to me, and I'd imagine they'll have too much about them to go down. Northampton are well versed in League One football. Wigan, Bristol Rovers, ourselves, then Mansfield and Rotherham. That's not the bottom. The bottom 4 are kind of as you'd expect.
Yeah, the problem I'm seeing there is if one of those teams in the bottom 4 does manage to put some form together and pull themselves out of it, then, as you just said, a team that isn't fancied to go down is going to go down.
Yeah.
And then that's when you worry that it's going to be you, because you think Peterborough got too much bottom to go down, Northampton never get relegated, Bristol Rovers never get relegated.
We're the next ones.
We are contenders in that to go down.
I agree entirely.
But you may well be right that bottom 4 stays the same, or it does end up being like, because Burton are always pretty good at escaping, aren't they? They never go down.
What's to our favour, which is just fact, so we're 7 points clear at the minute.
Yeah, and a lot of results went our way on Saturday. So really, despite a kind of less than overwhelming performance, it was actually a pretty good day. Everything kind of went in our direction, and a couple more of them, and we start to look quite safe quite quickly.
There's 16 games to go, and 50.
That's too many for my liking.
It's a long time, isn't it? 50 points almost certainly does it. Argyle went down on 50 points once about 10 years ago. So 51, I think always makes people say 52 certainly does. So that's 16 or 17 points from 16 games. Point per game should be achievable. The problem is our form's poor.
It's very poor. I mean, we've only got that, like you just said, that's our first win since Boxing Day.
Yeah. Now, slight factor is we've lost some games to the FA Cup, which we did win or draw, but...
Yeah, and we've lost players, and we've now got different players, and we have to see how that pans out. That's the same for everybody, though. Do you mean like there will be other teams I'm sure, have brought in players as well. And
now, of course, we're only 6 points away from the top half of the table, so it could also swing the other way. I
think I find less easy to believe.
Yeah, well,
but, yeah, you never know.
Our goal average isn't good, but it's not the worst. the bottom 4 teams have all got worse goal average than us. I think we'll scrape it. I do. I'm on balance of probability, I think we'll scrape out of it. But if you ask me again in 3 games and we've not won any of those 3, obviously the probability goes back the other way.
Yeah, we're kind of... and we are sort of at the point where it could go either way, aren't we?
And as you said, the transfer window's done. Magennis gets injured. What the hell do we do?
Little Sonny Cox.
Yeah, he doesn't trust him, does he?
He was pretty instrumental in picking up those points we needed last season.
Agreed.
But yeah, he doesn't... I know he's been injured. Which is why we haven't seen him at all. I think we would have seen some of him had he not been injured by this point. I do hope that he can... that we see more of him before the end of the season, because we've always been able to see something in Cox, haven't we? Over the years, like there's been runs where you think, oh, he doesn't look up to it, or the system just doesn't work with him playing there. But like you said, we have adapted slightly, I guess. I mean, like I said, Saturday we kind of seemed to adapt to something which I don't think was particularly optimal, but it shows that there is some adaptation happening. So perhaps that's something as well. And then the other one is Jay Bird, who I think, I mean, I've got nothing against the lad, but he doesn't look...
I mean, I think Pat Jones can cause chaos. I think Mitchell, obviously, as
Pat
we know...
Jones also injured in training, apparently, so didn't play Saturday, but...
You know, Watts, Mitchell, Jones...
we've got so many of those players.
They can cause trouble, and if Magennis can use one of the chances they create, then we're always going to be in with a chance.
I think what that Forest game showed to me was that they can play, that you can put Yagani and Jones or whoever in those wing-back positions. If you're insistent on playing wing-backs, they can do it.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then I find it... And we're desperate for wins and whatnot. We're playing against teams like Cambridge. I know who's injured. I cannot see how Niskanen starts over Pat Jones if they're both fully fit.
Agreed.
Unless you're playing a team in the top half, or...
And you need someone to run back all the time.
Yeah, or you manage to go ahead again and then you want to protect the lead, in which case I admit Niskanen might be a better option, but
Okay. Well, there's more games coming up shortly. More on that in a second. Welcome back to the Big Bang Theory podcast. Remember, you can email us bigbankpod@gmail.com with haircuts or whatever you want. Now, whatever we wanted last week was, how close are you connected to an Exeter City player? We've had all sorts of emails. Probably our most ever email topic.
Yeah, well, it's a good suggestion. Again, like I said, this wasn't our idea. This was my older brother's idea. He said that apparently he wanted it to be called... What was it?
7 degrees.
Why 7?
Isn't that
Isn't it 6?
Oh, was it 6?
6 degrees of...
Separation.
Yeah, we're not using that, because that's terrible. Good idea. Terrible name.
Slated by your own brother. Anyway, here's that item now. What are we calling it? Segment.
Yeah.
Adam's got in touch. I once tried to sell a Kia Sorento to Lee Holmes. It's to my great shame that he never bought the car and he bought a Mercedes instead. Good try, Adam. Everyone's always going to buy a Mercedes, surely. Phil's been in touch.
I mean, if you're a footballer, you can't turn up in a Kia.
No, maybe not. Phil's been in touch.
A bit flash as well, Holmes, wasn't he?
He was quite. He says that he once said, this is excellent, because I picture myself doing the same. He once said, "Hello, Paul," to Paul Batty in the spa at the top Dunsford Hill, now a Morrison's local, in our promotion season in 1990. And he said, "All right, mate, back. Good." Lovely stuff.
That is a nice tale. However, I need to point out at this juncture that isn't really what we were asking for. You've got to be, like, in a way, we're wrong, because because they're so available, if you've just met an Exeter City player, unless something very significant happened around that,
it's out of the segment.
It's out. You can't. They're always knocking around. I said this last week. I'm always saying hello to Exeter City players. I'm not going to bring it up on here though. It's got to be something. There's got to be some more to it than that.
Here you go then.
Right, this is what. Come on, give me
Jake's been in touch.
Yeah.
Tristan Kramer, remember him, matched a summer fling I was seeing on Hinge. So I was in the rare crowd of happy to see the back of him and absolutely not jealous one bit. Yeah, you're never going to win. I don't know what Jake looks like, but you're never winning against Kramer, are you?
Well, it says to me that he must be, he's also managed to kind of get with this person.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then Kramer, so she's Kramer level.
She's Kramer. Wowee. Can you imagine?
So that means that, what's his name? Jake. He must be up there too.
Well played, Jake.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your good looks.
Yeah. Unless he's French and she just got a thing for French people.
Sam's been in touch, ooh la la, to say he went to school with Jack Sparks' brother. Is that more what you're looking
That's
for?
what I want.
Good. And
What was the one we had off Facebook? That's the one I like.
oh, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, I sent it you.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll look it up. You do some talking. So it's an absolute treat.
Well, you're presenting the segment, so I don't have anything to say.
Done very poorly here.
I can say something else. There we go. Don't worry, I'll get it for you.
Oh, yes. This is from Ed. He says, my brother worked for Camp America with Ronnie Jepson.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Give on, Ed.
But what, don't you have to be like a teenager to go and work at Camp America?
Maybe Jepson was a teenager at the time. It was before his football fame.
Well, maybe. That's going back away.
Isn't it?
Because Ronnie Jepson...
We don't know how old Ed is, or his brother.
Ronnie Jepson must be in his 60s now.
Could be.
Would he be in his 60s, 50s? Late 50s, at least.
Mark's been in touch.
One of my favourite players, Ronnie Jepson.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark's been in touch to say his kids have tennis lessons with John Wingate, who's playing midfield from 69 to 76. How old is this tennis coach?
I don't know. That is perfect. That's what we want.
What? Mark, I got more questions about that. Hold on. So he was a midfielder, 69, 76. So he must have been born in 50 at the latest. So he's now 75. Still,
Yeah.
I suppose that's possible. Still coaching the tennis.
Yeah.
If you've got it, you've got it.
How old's Boris Becker? Not 75.
Becker, no, he's not as old. It's impossible to tell with his looks. So there we go. Excellent stories. Well played.
Yeah, there's a couple more, wasn't there? There was one for my other brother who remembered that my dad used to regularly see Danny Bailey at the gym, John Holt Gym, which I think was in the Guildhall. Do you remember that place?
No, I don't.
Yeah. Imagine how intimidating it would be being in the gym with Danny Bailey.
Yeah.
I mean, people talk about Jack Grealish legs.
Bailey had legs akimbo.
Bailey's legs. Yeah, good segment. So that's the sort of thing.
There's loads about Barry McConnell. Now, my favourite story about Barry McConnell, which I think is true.
It's always about Eddie McConnell. I think that's why the tail's going to come out of it.
Do you know the story about him doing the Great West Run?
You've said it on the podcast
Have
before,
I?
but say it again.
Well, I don't think... It's not my story. I think it's Aaron's story. So, Aaron, if you're listening, tell me if this is true or not.
He won't listen to this. It's too long.
That's true. We've gone too far for him. McConnell was doing the Great West Run. That was the old days of the Great West Run, where you had to go up and down Pinnow Road several times, right?
Yeah.
2 laps. And Barry McConnell, he's retired from football, so he's early 40s by this point, he's maybe not winning the Great West Run, but he's like with the leading pack. And then a man keels over going the other way up the hill, heart attack. McConnell abandons his potential winning position to give this man CPR, who then recovers enough for the paramedics to turn up and help him. McConnell then carries on and finishes the race.
Yeah, I mean, that is your civic duty. If you don't do that, then you are, bit of a piece of work.
No, there's loads of people around.
It's the Great West Run.
Yeah,
it's
fine.
not like...
I just think that's impressive.
It's very impressive.
And he ran off. I suppose the story's more about Aaron, then he ran off and finished the race.
Yeah, it's very impressive. Yeah.
Good on you, Baz.
Anyway, I like this one about him playing pool. So this is from James Harris, and he says his friend and him saw Barry McConnell in
the hole in the
wall pub, not called that anymore, but a
What's it called
former...
now?
I think it's called Castle Street.
Terrible.
Yeah, former good pub.
Yeah.
And his friend went over and said to Barry, Mr. McConnell, my friend over there is a huge fan and would be honoured if you'd play pool with him. As he pointed at me, like I was asking a girl out in year 5.
Good.
Barry said yes, and I was delighted. We discussed the financial crisis at the club, and I distinctly remember he said, "Jambo is embarrassing." I think it may have been in Hollyoaks or something. I'm not sure I know what that bit is about. And he potted 6 balls before I had a shot.
He can do everything, McConnell. He's got it all.
Very
Runner,
good.
footballer, pool star.
Yeah.
We need more of those stories. You know you've got them. You just haven't written in yet. We've all got them.
Maybe some of those will spark your memory.
Yeah. The further back, the better.
Yeah, so basically what we're looking for is a kind of like an interesting emphasis on the word interesting, or amusing encounter with an Exeter City player, past or present, or some kind of link to an Exeter City player, past or present.
Please. Yeah.
Your mum had an affair with Darren Robotham.
Wow.
Or
hold on, that's not true. We just established that. My mum did not.
Ashley Bays paved your patio.
Yeah, that's what we need. Okay. Well, thanks everyone. They're brilliant stories.
Very good, yeah.
So, coming up in the league...
There's probably some others we've missed, but we'll just check and read them out another time.
We've got to save up our material, our content. So this Saturday, we're away at the Valley at Charlton. Charlton, obviously, are in good form, good team.
Are they in good form, are they?
6th at the minute, pushing their way up. It's not going to be easy. They're 7th. They're just outside the playoffs.
They've won.
Points.
They've won 4 out of the last 5. 3 out of the last 5. Sorry, they did win. They did lose at the weekend.
Oh, that's Birmingham, though, wasn't it?
To Birmingham, only 1-0 away, so it's not that bad. Was a Stano. Who's the manager?
Manager of Charlton.
Yeah. Don't you worry,
Nathan Jones,
I'll tell you.
it?
It's Madman, Nathan Jones.
Yeah, that's right. He's
Welsh madman.
If you said to Nathan Jones in the hole in the wall, "Do you want a game of pool?" he'd lambast the pool culture and smash up your pool table.
Probably, yeah. Probably
That's
would.
the way he likes it. It's... he's turned them around, hasn't he? They weren't in a good position when he joined them. I think if we go there and get anything at all, I guess Caldwell will play the old 10 men behind the ball, won't he?
I suppose I'd expect a fairly kind of defensive setup. There's some other kind of important games.
Yeah, there are lots of them playing each other, aren't they?
Blackpool are playing Crawley. Huddersfield are playing Peterborough. Lincoln are playing Burton. And then you've got Northampton against Bristol Rovers. So that's both
the big one,
us. We've got both of them coming up, haven't we, at some point fairly soon?
Yeah.
So, interesting weekend ahead. And if we can get anything from it, and a couple other results go our way, things starting to look up.
Absolutely, yeah. Because the week after is Northampton at home.
Because I'm looking towards the end of the season, and it's like kind of like the last 5 games or 6 games or something, are all against the teams who are currently kind of around us or below us, and I know that would look like on paper a chance to pick up some points rather than teams, playing against teams that are above you. But I just see that as like, what if it's too late by that point, and suddenly every match is a 6-pointer, and what if you lose every 6-pointer? You're going down. So it could be decided in the last 6 games if we don't manage to haul ourselves clear a little bit now.
We've got to have that 50 points in mind. I don't think it will come to that because those 4 aren't performing particularly well at the minute, and we've got that bit of buffer at the minute. If we get to 40 in the next 3 games, I think we can consider ourselves away from it.
I hope you're right.
But
I want to see more Tony. I want to see more
Olawabari.
Yeah, I want to see more from Colwell.
Yeah.
He didn't look that.
He's not really
yet. Well, it's a step up for him.
Yeah, of course.
Again, I think we got to give him a little bit of time, and he's getting minutes, and he's playing. And he's playing, and he's not playing terribly.
No,
badly. It doesn't look out of his depth. I just think, hopefully, the more he kind of plays, the more that we can maybe kind of see that he can make up the step up that he was from wherever he was before, and we can get a bit of that potential.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the state of play. Anything else we need to say to the good people?
I don't think so.
No. People are always enjoying your mention of the man from Dixon's.
Oh, yeah.
No one ever mentions the man from Queen Street News.
Well, do you mean us?
Yeah,
Yeah, we haven't mentioned him, have we? Graham.
Graham.
Graham, what are you up to, mate?
I tell you, last time I saw him, he was down. He was down working for Devon Contract Waste.
At the tip?
Not at the tip, at the Devon Contract Waste fridge and freezer bit.
Right.
And if you remember Graham, maybe you don't. I mean, some of you are too young. Queen Street News was a little newsagent on Queen Street, kind of opposite the entrance to the Guildhall. Tiny, wasn't it? Well, normal size newsagent. If you don't know what a newsagent is, it's a shop.
A lot of them won't.
It's a shop that used to sell newspapers and magazines and pick and mix and fags and pint of milk, wasn't it? Basically, matches. Yeah. And
you could always
bars.
get
Bought a lot of chocolate bars in there.
Yeah, a lot of chocolate bars. You could always get newspapers and magazines from far off places.
You could. Yeah.
There'd be like sort of Italian newspapers in there.
Yeah, you get Le Monde, couldn't you? And yeah. Anyway, it was run.
French,
it was run by It was run by an older woman and a younger man in his 50s, I suppose, called Graham. And Graham was always one for a one-liner. So you'd say, we'll role play this now for you. You be Graham, Dan.
Oh, no, hang on a minute. I can't. What if I get it wrong?
You be me.
Okay, can I have this packet of chewing gum?
No, you can't have it. You have to pay for it.
Yeah.
That's Graham's line. You'd say, can I get some matches?
Well, I wouldn't say, can I get anything, because that's American.
That's what he plied his trade upon. You'd say, can I get some matches, please? And he'd say, no, you can't get them, you don't work here. Is that the same thing I just said?
Well, it's a variation.
Yeah, or no, you have to pay for it. It was all that joke all the time.
Yeah, he'd say, keep the change?
Yeah. No, obviously not.
Yeah. But it'd be him saying, yeah, he was a joker.
He was a joker. But anyway, the woman that worked there with him had been driven to absolute insanity by his constant quips. So later on in life, the life of Queen Street News, and both of them, you'd hear her going from the back of the shop, "Shut up, Gray! Why won't he shut up? He's still going on, shut up, Gray! I'm going to kill him!" Like that, wouldn't you?
I don't remember that bit, but yeah, I'm sure it was, yeah.
The best thing that ever happened in Queen Street News was obviously a sad tale of when that boy from Plymouth put a bomb in the toilets in that restaurant in Princess Hay. And Giraffe. Speculation was rife across the internet as to what was going on, and Exeter was under some sort of siege. And I went into Queen Street News as the two people working there said, yeah, Princess Hay's been blown up and WH Smith's is on fire, right? I looked out of the door of Queen Street News directly across to Smith's, which like toddlers and the elderly were walking in and out of freely. And I said, well, that's not true. And he went, no, it is. They're saying so on the internet. So,
Yeah.
Good times. Anyway, Queen Street News, if you've got good stories like Queen Street News, let us know. I've got an excellent one for next time.
I mean, the saddest bit of the whole tale was he'd spend all day doing those jokes, and then the minute it was closed, you'd see him outside looking like incredibly depressed, just sort of smoking a fag.
Yeah, that's right. That's his demeanour now at Devon Contract Waste.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a kind of crossover there of the internet starting bad and newsagents all closing down.
Yeah.
Also bad.
I miss the newsagent.
Yeah.
My favourite one that still exists is in Tottenham Court Road in London, and the man there has got an enormous blown up picture covering all the cigarettes and the vapes and everything of him and Rihanna when she visited the shop.
Oh yeah, excellent.
Absolutely outstanding. And you can still get newspapers in a picnic bar.
Well, they've got loads of them in London.
London's fine.
Yeah.
Exeter, struggling.
I know they've all become a Morrison's local, haven't they?
Is there any newsagents left in Exeter?
We're getting a bit Reform UK on here, aren't we?
No, we're not. We're certainly not.
Get Purrington on.
We're certainly not, but I would like to see a newsagents back.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
All right.
There's certain things in there that I think you can opine without being a racist.
I'm not a racist.
I know.
I just like a newsagent.
I'm not saying you are.
Good, thank you. All right, well, thanks for listening, everyone. In conclusion, not a racist. My name's John.
Not racist, just like a newsagent.
Just like a newsagent. Been here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Cheers.
See you soon.